Hey, what is going on everyone, and welcome to my LEGO Legacy Farming Guide for Fall 2020. It's been quite a while since I made one of these, so I figured it was about time to update it. So first of all, let's go over the general structure of this farming guide. So as you can see here, there are 5 main categories: the Mashup Store, the Arena Store, Glyph Hunt, Piptown United, and Monolith Waste. And each category is broken into 2 main sections. The ones on the left have very specific star goals, and those should be farmed from left to right. That is the priority for farming those characters. And then on the right, you can farm those characters in any order you want, but only after you finish the characters to the left. So once you have completed the characters that have a specific star goal, then you can move on to the others here on the right. Also, depending on when you started playing the game, you may not have some of these nodes for these characters unlocked just yet. For example, let's say with Glyphon, you're farming Darwin, and you've already finished looting all of his nodes for the day, and you have some leftover energy. Well, the next priority is Aurora, so you would go to her first, but if you haven't unlocked her node, then you could go to the Guarded Inn, which is the next one in the list, and so on and so forth. So let's just start with the Mashup Store here at the top. First of all, you should try to get Cook Bart to 7 stars before you move on to any other characters from this store. One recurring theme you're going to see a lot throughout this farming guide is that pirates should be the team that you go after first. Pirates are a great team and are useful or required for almost every area in the entire game. One main thing that pirates are required for is the weekly gold event, which will reward large amounts of gold. And gold is currently one of, if not the biggest bottlenecks in this game, so getting another large income stream of that gold will be very, very helpful in your general LEGO Legacy progression. And then of course, pirates are also required to unlock Master Wu, who is currently one of the best characters in the entire game, so you are definitely going to want to go after your pirates. After Bart, I recommend taking Businessman Trent to 5 stars for the Ability Elixir event. That will be plenty to complete that last tier for the event, which I've done a complete video on, a complete walkthrough of that tier. But if you can complete that tier, you will get a large income of those tier 3, 2, and 1 ability elixirs, which will help you progress very, very quickly. After you get him to 5 stars, I recommend taking Verta to 5 stars as well for the Officer Primo event, which requires castle characters to be at 5 stars. Verta herself is not an amazing character, but she will help you a lot in that event when it eventually comes back around. Moving on to the Arena Store now, the first character I recommend you max from here is Valiant, again continuing with the pirate theme here. I personally recommend that you take him all the way to 7 and then go to Lloyd and try to take him to 5. Now, if you're really struggling with Piptown United and you need another strong builder, maybe pause your Valiant farm just for a little bit so that you can unlock Lloyd and then go back to farming Valiant. But personally, my recommendation is if you're ever struggling in a campaign battle, try to get in a really strong guild with strong shared heroes, maybe like a 7-star Jester, or a 7-star Burnabus, or even a 5-star Master Wu, and that will help you a lot to complete these battles. But if you're really struggling, pause Valiant for a little bit, unlock Lloyd, and then go back to farming Valiant. And then yeah, I recommend you get Lloyd to 5 stars, and then from there you can go back to Lloyd to finish him up to 7, or start going after Ash or Brutus. I will say, I think Brutus should be the last character you farm from this store. Castle is currently not a meta team for Arena, and even if they were, King Brutus is not a part of the core Castle team, so he wouldn't even be used in that scenario. Also, you can get tiles for him from Brickspedition, but personally I recommend you go for tiles for Ash, as well as farming her from the Arena Store after you finish Valiant and Lloyd, because there is a chance that City will be reworked following the Space update, which will happen shortly. So Space may have their time to shine, so it could be worth it to work on Ash after you finish Valiant and Lloyd. For Glyph Hunt, the first character you should prioritize here is Darwin, of course, again, because he is a pirate. And then after that, you're going to want to work on Aurora. Aurora is one of the best characters in the game. She is probably the best character for PvE content like campaigns and Brickspedition. She's super useful for getting gold trophies on just about any glyph hunt or monolith waste mission, since she can revive units very regularly, especially if you pair her with a 4-star ice glider. And then she basically makes medkits useless. It's kind of like you have infinite medkits if you're using Aurora. I always use her in my Brickspedition teams, and it makes it very easy to just auto my way through most of the missions and not have to worry about losing a unit, because at the end of the battle I can just turn it off auto and use Aurora to revive all of my units or any of my units that may have been defeated at the end of the battle. So she is very useful for PvE content. She's not very meta in Arena. She can be very useful in the early to mid game, not so much at the late game, but who knows, like I said, City may be reworked, and if so, she's going to be a very important part of that City team. After that, I recommend you focus a bit on the Guarded Inn. The Guarded Inn is probably the single most versatile set that works with just about any set of characters, and of course it is a castle set as well, and a 5-star castle set is required for Officer Primo, and that's also why I recommend Burnabus right here, that you take him to 5 stars, both for Primo's event. Now, Primo is not currently the best character in the game. He's not even that good, but like I've been saying a couple times here, City may be reworked after Space, and I just think it's generally a good idea to go after these master event characters, since their events don't rerun very often. The Primo event actually hasn't rerun since it first ran, I believe back in January, so they are very rare, so generally I just think it's a good idea to go after those characters. But after that, you can then move on to farming Kai if you're trying to work on Ninjago, or you could finish up Burnabus, or even go after Yuppie. Here, I would say Yuppie should be your last priority. While he is a kind of good character in certain situations, he's pretty easy to kill, and if you do, I mean, he doesn't have great survivability, and once he's dead, unless you have Aurora on the team, then those two can kind of work well together, but still, I'm not the biggest fan of Yuppie. He does have potential, but right now he's just not that good of a character, and there are other characters you should prioritize first. Moving on to Piptown United now, Argenta is going to be your #1 focus from here, and then after you have finished looting her nodes for the day, you can move on to Darwin to help finish him up a little bit quicker. After them, you should move on to the Raft Raider set and get it to just 2 stars, and upgrade the first ability to level 3 and leave the other 2 at level 1. A 2-star Raft Raider set at the abilities at 311 is going to be almost as effective as a completely maxed Raft Raider set. It's going to work really well, and that's a pretty low investment for a relatively solid set that will work really well with your pirate team until you can unlock the Forbidden Island. After that, if you have any leftover energy, you can work on Aurora a little bit more to help farm her up a little bit quicker for those campaigns and Brickspedition. Then you can go to Jester, Commander Cold, or Highwayman. That's kind of up to you. Personally, I would recommend taking Jester to 5 stars for the Primo event, but Commander Cold may be reworked with the upcoming Space update, so he might be much more effective, and Highwayman is a pretty solid attacker, although personally, I would also not recommend him to be a top priority for you. I would lean more towards Jester or Commander Cold, depending on how good his rework is. And then finally, we have Monolith Waste. The first character you should work on here is, of course, Hiker. He is a really good early to mid-game healer and very useful in campaigns and Brickspedition, also a couple events, so definitely work on him early on. He's going to be very useful. The Guarded Inn is also here because you do want to get that set to 5 stars as quickly as possible. Then you're going to want to get the Ice Glider to 4 stars, and then the Forbidden Island to 5 stars. Now, one thing I will say for Monolith Waste is, with this campaign, I recommend that you do 1 node refresh each day. So if you're farming Hiker, refresh his node once a day so that you get another 12 attempts. Because you're going to get a lot of Monolith energy throughout the day, and you want to stay focused on the character you're going after or the set. And if you do refresh 1 node each day, you're going to get through these characters and sets twice as fast than if you weren't. So definitely spend 50 gems a day on Monolith Waste to refresh the node of whatever character or set you're farming, and that will help you out quite a bit. As I mentioned earlier, you are going to want to take the Ice Glider to just 4 stars, because that is when you're going to unlock the 4th ability on this set, which is the ability that allows Aurora to chain revives back to back to back, and you don't even need to upgrade that fourth ability or any abilities really on this set to get a lot of use out of it, so just try to get to 4 stars to unlock that fourth ability. And then after that is of course the Forbidden Island, like I briefly mentioned. This is going to be your main pirate set. You're going to want to get this thing to 5 stars for the Master Wu event, and this thing is going to be very, very useful. And then after that we have Headley, who I recommend you take to 5 stars, also for the Primo event. He's not the greatest of characters, but he is going to help you in that event. And then after that, you can focus on Reed or Locust. Those are 2 solid space characters. Like I said earlier, there is a space update / reworks coming soon, so maybe Dwayne and Kelvin will be made better, but as it stands, Reed and Locust are the other 2 main Monolith characters that you should worry about, because they both are pretty solid. As usual, this farming guide is not completely set in stone. This is just my personal opinion, although I will say that most people in the LEGO Legacy community would probably agree with most of my suggestions here. Also, I know that it's not technically fall yet until like late September, but I initially tried naming this the Summer 2020 guide, and it just seemed weird, because I think most of us think of summer ending in like mid-August. So yeah, I'm going to be sticking with fall. Anyhow, that's going to be it for this video. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.